They say the first $100,000 is the hardest. And if you've ever tried to save, invest, or build something from scratch, you know exactly why. It feels impossible. Bills pile up, paychecks vanish. Every time you think you're getting ahead, life throws you back down. Rent, groceries, a broken car, a medical bill. The money slips away faster than it comes in. But here's the secret. That first 100,000 isn't just about money. It's about discipline. It's about mindset. It's about building a foundation that changes your life forever. Imagine this. You're in your early 20s, working long hours, barely scraping by. Every dollar you save feels like a drop in the ocean. You wonder if it's even worth it. Then you hear about someone who built wealth starting from nothing, and you ask yourself, how did they do it? This story isn't about billionaires born into privilege. It's about ordinary people who pushed through the hardest part, reaching that first 100,000. Because once you get there, something magical happens. Your money begins to work for you. Compound interest kicks in. Investments grow on their own. And suddenly, the climb doesn't feel as steep anymore. Tonight, we're going to explore why that first 100,000 is the toughest, and why, if you can cross that line, the rest of the journey becomes far easier. This is the story of struggle, discipline, and the turning point that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Picture a young worker in a crowded city. He wakes up before the sun, punches the clock, and works a shift that barely covers rent. At night, he eats instant noodles, too tired to think about anything but sleep. Yet, at the end of each week, he takes a $20 bill and hides it away. It feels useless. What can $20 do in a world where everything costs hundreds? But he keeps going, week after week, month after month. The habit becomes part of him. This is the invisible grind, the part nobody celebrates. No headlines, no applause, just quiet sacrifice. Friends spend on new clothes or nights out. He says no. He feels like he's missing life. And still he saves. Then something shifts. After a year, the little stash looks different. A few $100s, then 1,000. He notices a pattern. The hardest step wasn't saving money, it was changing his identity. He's no longer just surviving. He's becoming someone who builds. But the mountain ahead still looks impossible. 100,000 feels like a number from another universe. Every time he adds a few dollars, he wonders if he's wasting his youth chasing a dream that's too far. And yet, the momentum grows. Tiny choices compound, a skipped coffee, an extra hour at work, a small raise saved instead of spent. This is how wealth begins, not with big wins, but with ordinary people refusing to give up, even when it feels hopeless. One day, he makes a decision that feels terrifying. Instead of letting the money sit in a dusty savings account, he invests it. Not in some flashy get-rich-quick scheme, but in something simple, an index fund, a piece of the market itself. The numbers on the screen look small. 1,000 here, a few hundred there. But something begins to change. For the first time, his money is moving without him. It grows while he sleeps, while he works, while he eats another cheap dinner. This is the moment most people never see, the quiet birth of compounding. A few percent a year looks invisible at first. But like a seed in the soil, it is alive. It doesn't matter if he notices. The process has begun. Still, the journey isn't smooth. Some months, the market falls. His balance shrinks. Panic whispers in his ear. Sell. Take what you have and run. Friends mock him. Why bother? It's pennies. But he holds on. Then a year later, the account looks different. Not just because of his savings, but because growth has joined the fight. He realizes a truth that will guide him forever. Money is no longer just earned. It is also working. The grind is still brutal. The mountain of 100,000 looks as far as ever. But now he has an ally, time. And time, when paired with patience, can be more powerful than any paycheck. For the first time, he feels it. Wealth isn't about luck. It's about endurance. Then, just when he feels steady, the ground shakes. The company he works for downsizes. Overnight, he is without a paycheck. The small savings that once felt like a burden now become his shield. While others scramble, he has a cushion. It's not enough to live forever, but it buys him something priceless: time. Time to breathe, to search for a new job, to avoid desperation. In those weeks, he understands the brutal truth. Wealth is not only about growing richer. It is about surviving storms. Most people break at the first setback. They sell their investments, drain their accounts, and start again from zero. But he refuses. He tightens his belt, takes odd jobs, and protects his growing seed of capital like a flame in the wind. The market doesn't care about his struggles. Prices rise, prices fall. News screams about crashes and booms. But deep down, he knows the money will recover as long as he doesn't give up. Months later, he lands another job. The paycheck returns. His savings start to grow again. And now, he sees it differently. The account isn't just numbers on a screen. It is proof that he can endure. The first 10,000 took years and sacrifice. But it's there. Solid. Real. And from here, each dollar feels lighter, each step less steep. The climb remains hard, but he has crossed something invisible, momentum. This is why the first 100,000 is the hardest. Not because of the math, but because of the test of character. With a new job and steady income, something shifts inside him. Saving is no longer a painful sacrifice. It has become a habit, like brushing his teeth or locking the door at night. He doesn't argue with himself over each dollar. The decision is automatic. A part of every paycheck goes straight into his investments. At first, it was discipline. Now it's identity. He is no longer someone trying to save. He has become an investor, a builder, someone who plants seeds for tomorrow. The numbers tell the story. 10,000 becomes 15. 15 turns into 25. Some days, the growth is so slow he barely notices. Other days, a sudden jump makes him stare at the screen in disbelief. The money is not magic. It's math, multiplied by patience. But here's the strange part. The struggle doesn't feel as heavy anymore. He still says no to certain things, but now it feels like a choice, not a punishment. When friends spend recklessly, he doesn't envy them. He pities them, because he has something they don't, momentum. And then he learns a lesson that wealthy people whisper but rarely explain. Once your money reaches a certain size, it begins to carry itself. The weight of building doesn't rest only on your shoulders. The money is pulling, too. The mountain of 100,000 is still far away, but for the first time, he believes it's possible. Not a dream, not a fantasy, a destination. And that belief changes everything. The climb isn't only about discipline, it's about resisting temptation. One evening, at a party, he hears friends bragging about a can't-lose investment. A hot new startup. A coin that's guaranteed to explode in value. They laugh at his slow approach. Why waste years stacking pennies when you can double your money overnight? The idea burns in his mind. He pictures himself skipping the grind, leaping past years of sacrifice. For a moment, it feels intoxicating. The promise of easy money has a magnetic pull. But then he remembers the nights of instant noodles, the months of odd jobs, the fear of losing everything. He realizes something most never learn. Wealth built slowly may feel boring, but it is strong. Wealth built on hype is a house of cards. Still, curiosity wins, and he risks a small amount just to test. At first, it skyrockets. His friends celebrate, acting like geniuses. But within weeks, the price crashes. His small gamble shrinks to nearly nothing. It stings, but he smiles. Because the lesson is priceless. Shortcuts are traps. If he had thrown everything in, years of sacrifice would have been erased. From then on, he ignores the noise. No matter what headline screams, no matter what trend everyone chases, he sticks to the path. And that decision, the choice to stay steady while others chase illusions, becomes his hidden advantage. Years pass, quietly, steadily. The account that once held scraps now holds something he never thought possible: $50,000. He stares at the number on the screen. It feels unreal, like a stranger's bank account. But it's his. Each dollar carries the story of sacrifice, the skipped nights out, the long shifts, the storms survived. And then it hits him. The growth he sees now doesn't come only from his paycheck. Nearly half of it has come from compounding, from the invisible power of money building on itself. His investments, once fragile, are now alive and breathing. He does the math. If his account can double once, it can double again. The climb that felt impossible in the beginning now feels inevitable. He has crossed the most painful stretch. The slope isn't flat, but the path is clearer. Something else changes, too. Confidence replaces fear. He no longer worries about every market dip. When headlines scream about crashes, he doesn't panic. Because he has lived through fear before, and he knows the real danger is quitting. At 50,000, he realizes the truth. He doesn't need to chase miracles. Time is his miracle. The hardest part is behind him. From here, the momentum carries him forward like a river pulling him downstream. The mountain peak of 100,000 no longer feels like fantasy. It feels like destiny. The day arrives quietly. No fireworks, no applause, no breaking news. Just a man sitting at his desk, staring at a glowing screen. His account balance shows a number he once thought impossible, $100,000. He leans back, and for a moment he can't breathe. Memories flood in, nights of hunger, mornings of exhaustion, moments of doubt when the dream felt too far away. Every dollar in that account is proof that he didn't quit. Proof that sacrifice compounds, just like interest. And here's the surprising part. The money is not the real reward. It's the person he became along the way. Disciplined, patient, resilient. The kind of person who can build, endure, and rise again after setbacks. The climb to 100,000 was brutal. But now something flips. His money has weight of its own. Each year, it grows with less effort than before. The snowball is rolling downhill, gathering speed, unstoppable. He realizes the truth that legends like Warren Buffett have always whispered. The first 100,000 is the hardest. Not because of the math, but because of the transformation. The struggle was the test. And passing it means the rest of the journey, while never easy, will never feel impossible again. So what does this mean for you? Maybe you're just starting out, staring at a paycheck that feels too small, bills that feel too heavy, and a goal that feels too far. Maybe 100,000 sounds like a fantasy, reserved for people luckier, smarter, or born into privilege. But here's the truth. The hardest step isn't earning more. It's building the habits that carry you forward when everything in life tries to pull you back. The first 1,000 feels impossible, the first 10,000 feels endless, and the climb to 100,000 feels like a lifetime. Yet each step plants the roots of discipline. And once you reach it, the rules of the game change. Time becomes your ally. Money begins to work harder than you. The weight shifts. The climb becomes momentum. The first 100,000 is not about the number. It's about becoming the kind of person who can endure. The kind of person who says no when everyone else says yes. Who holds steady when others panic. Who understands that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Because after the first 100,000, the rest of the journey, whether it's 200,000, 1 million, or beyond, is no longer a question of if. It's only a question of when. And that's the difference between those who dream of wealth and those who build it. The story of the first 100,000 is not about money. It's about becoming unbreakable. When you fight for every dollar, you learn discipline. When you endure setbacks, you build resilience. When you resist temptations, you master patience. These qualities matter far more than the number in your account, because they stay with you long after the balance grows. And here's the secret the wealthy rarely share. Once you've climbed that first mountain, the rest is downhill. Your money starts working harder than you ever could. Opportunities appear. Choices expand. Life bends in your favor. But none of it happens if you quit early. That's why most people never get there. They give up when it feels impossible, not realizing that the hardest part is exactly what transforms them into builders. So if you're watching this and the goal feels too far away, remember this: the journey is supposed to feel impossible. That's what makes the breakthrough so powerful. Start with $1, then another. Protect your savings like a flame in the wind. Invest, endure, repeat. Because the day you see 6 figures in your account won't just prove that you made it financially. It will prove that you became the kind of person who never stops climbing. And from there, the future is yours.